Hi, Rachel, and thank you for joining us in this conversation, which is all about telling missional stories. As most people know, I'm Sam Corduroy and this is Janet Green, and we're here on behalf of the Harrogate Hub, and we're helping to connect people who are doing mission in our town with one another. So, Rachel, do you want to start by introducing yourself, as not everyone will know you?
Sure. My name is Rachel Turner. I attend Hope Church Harrogate, and I also am the Parenting for Faith pioneer for an organization called Parenting for Faith, which is part of BRF.
So Rachel, we love to hear stories of what's happening across our town in terms of mission. And you've got one of those to tell us. So please share what's happening in January.
We're really excited. There is a thing called a Parenting for Faith course, which is essentially connecting all sorts of parents together to go on a journey alongside each other of exploring how we can help our kids meet and know God, whether they're babies, whether they're 15 years old, whether they're 35 or 40. You're never stop parenting. And I think in the heart of all of us is this call to help our kids meet and know God. And often it's a little side thing. And so in this course, what we're doing is we're taking apart all the other parenting issues, discipline, and we're putting all of that stuff aside. And we're saying, how do we actually help our kids take their next step in their journey with God? And we're going to equip us to become more confident. We're going to look at specific skills and things that we can do to help our kids connect with God on their own so we can feel confident in that part of our parenting. I think it's probably some of the best parts of parenting when you get to help your kid connect with God and see that fruit in their lives. And we just want every parent to experience that joy.
That sounds really amazing. And I love the fact that you talk about that it's not just for small children, it's for bigger children, whatever their age. And I'm guessing that it would be useful not just for parents, but for grandparents, aunties, uncles, friends, whoever. Is that right?
Absolutely, because no parent should ever be alone. And I think everyone who has influence in the life of a child can use all of these skills. There are people who are grandparents or aunts and uncles who are just family friends who say, I really want to see these kids meet and know God. And so we're just going to look at all of those skills of what it's like to be in the ordinary, everyday parts of a child or young person or adult's life and how to help them find God in the midst of that. So this isn't how to do church at home. This is how to live lives that walk alongside our children and help them know God, no matter who you are in the influencing part position.
But many people that are listening right now are in the same situation we are. We've been in lockdown. We've just come out of it. We're heading towards January into a new year. So why do you feel like now is just a perfect time to start this and get people involved and join in with it?
Well, I think some of the positives, well, I'm not even sure the word positive, that the fruit of this lockdown has been we've gotten to know our kids well. And I think there's this moment of them emerging and having gone through change and us heading into a whole new year to say, okay, we've survived. We've survived 2020. And now we can sort of gather ourselves up a little bit and head into a new year and say, okay, given everything we've learned, how can we use this to help our kids see God in a new way, to see themselves in a new way, to really think about how I, as a parent, as tired as I am, can be influential. It's this chance to sort of gather ourselves and rethink and add this little extra flavor to our lives, because I think we're ready for it. I think it's an exciting moment to jump on board so that we don't lose everything that we've had, and we can really start the new season with these new skills in place and these new relationships in place. Some of these, I have to say, sorry, jumping on in there, is that parenting is a very lonely journey. And we've all been doing it in our own individual houses, and we still can't sit and chat. And I think there's something about being able to be with other parents from your church, from other churches who are all at the same age group as you. So we're gonna make sure we facilitate conversations with other people like you, and whether you have a bunch of adult children, whether you have children with additional needs, to put you in groups of people who are peers like you and say, how's it going, and what's life been like, and how has faith in your home and what are the struggles you've been facing, and what are you guys thinking about and going back to church, and how are you guys feeling about it, and to have these conversations in community. I think we've been denied community, and parenting is so tiring and exhausting and isolating that we want to sort of give the gift of a parenting community back to families.
Oh, I love the sound of that. Just the idea of being able to chat with other people who are kind of at the same stage as me in terms of my parenting journey, but then those who are way ahead and have got loads of experience and stories to tell. I think that sounds really wonderful. Yeah. One of the other things we love to hear about is stories about changed lives. So do you have any examples that you can tell us about that you've seen happen?
Absolutely. For me, I guess one of the stories I'd like to tell is stories about children's changed life, because that's what we're here for. My goal is not for families to become different, but my goal is for parents to feel confident to see the lives of their children changed. We're really struck by the fact that you get more time at home in 1 week than you get in a whole year in church. And this sense of the community that you can be. We knew another family who had a 15-year-old kid who was really struggling. And they had been sort of at loggerheads, just normal teenage parenting stuff. The kid came home from a really hard day, and we had just done the session on how to pray with your kids. There's one about empowering them to have their own journey, but there's also the sort of how you can help your kid meet with God when they're struggling. And the parent just came around and said, "You okay? Do you want me to pray with you?" And the kid was like, "No." And he's like, "Okay, I'll pray with you separately." And the kid came back and said, "Actually, I do." And my parents said, "Okay," and just did a little bit of ministry with them in the way that we've talked about in terms of enabling them to connect without it being about the parents' words. And they just had this moment that they sat side by side, sat with God, and the parent was able to facilitate the sort of shame coming off the kid and the worry and the stress. And they had this really deep conversation about God and embarrassment and shame and sin. And it was this really great moment that they had together, because a parent felt confident to wade in past the initial stress, because they felt like they knew how to help their kid meet with God about it. The kid didn't have to talk to the parent about it, but the parent said, "Actually, talking to God about it's what's best, and can I help you with that?" And there was this shift in their relationship that's really significant. And that's all we're talking about. We're not talking about doing anything fancy or craft-based or anything. We're just talking about parents being parents and feeling confident in that. I have loads more. I could talk for ages.
Oh, we love stories. Thank you. Rachel, can you tell us more about the breakdown of the course, how it's delivered, when it is, and how to book, how much it costs, and what the kind of session contents are?
Sure. So the session, it's normally an 8-week course. We're going to do it in 7. And really the first couple of weeks, we're talking about how we position ourselves as parents without doing anything else besides being us. How do we position ourselves to influence the lives of our kids? How we create windows and feel like we can talk about faith without feeling weird or like we're shoving it into uncomfortable places. We're going to talk about how to explain things to our kids in a way that helps them see where God is, how to answer any spiritual question that your kid is going to ask while feeling smug about the answer. We're going to talk about how to spot your kids, how they view God and how to sort of shepherd their concept of God. We're going to talk about how to enable your kids to develop this conversational prayer and how to, pluck out anything about prayer that's really holding them back. And we'll talk about how to help your kid connect in with church and how they feel about church and how to navigate all of those different emotions about that, as well as how to pray for them. So it's really just picking a topic, and over 7 weeks, we're going to take a topic, we're going to wade into it. We're going to then have discussions so that we can connect with each other about that. It's going to be through Zoom. Normally, I have recorded this. It's a high quality recording that's available online, but I'm going to deliver it live because nobody wants to watch more videos. So it's going to be me live talking, which will have a lot less cool B-roll, but it will be me. And we're going to do a lot of questions and answers and a lot of back and forth so that we really are a community together walking forward in this. We're going to have a lot of how did it go this week and what's it like for you and finding those things. But we'll also have the videos available so that in case you just can't make it that week, we all know parenting life happens. And if you can't make it, there'll be ways of catching up so that you can feel that you're still connected to a community. We got to sign up now so that we know who is going to be coming and we can put you in those pre-groups ahead of time because we want to make sure that you are expected and that you are welcome and that we have prepared for you. Yes, book.
Yeah, book. But one of the biggest things, one of the most amazing things about this is the cost.
Yes.
which is free.
Is it free? I'm so glad. Well, I think that's what I love about it, is that it's Harrogate based. It's not going to be people from all over the place. It's our community, the people that we see in the grocery stores and all the churches that we worship alongside. And it's free because it's us. And so I think it's just a lovely time to come together and to be community. This isn't a course you pay for and consume. This is a community that you jump into.
Oh, Rachel, that all just sounds so amazing, and I can't wait to join in myself when that all starts in January. So thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you for sharing those stories, for telling us all about it, and we really hope that many people sign up, because I think it's just going to be of so much value to so many families in our town. So thank you.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it.